Imagine you're bought as a slave, but instead of serving tea and working on the fields, you're trained to wield a sword, and eventually become so good at whooping ass that when your master tells you to do something, you're like,
Shut your mouth, me. Actually smiling.
I'm Sean, I turn these stories and facts from history, science, and other topics short form so you can actually remember them. Probably gonna be the best educational content creator on every single platform, so like and follow if you want to call yourself a day one.
I will switch up.
The Mamluks were slave soldiers that broke free from their masters and created one of the most powerful dynasties in the medieval East. Starting in the 9th century, Islamic caliphates imported young boys mostly from the Turkic steppe, Caucasus, and eventually the Balkans. They bought them as slaves, converted them to Islam, and eventually turned them into killing machines. And they weren't random recruits, they were chosen for their toughness, grit, and loyalty. And they were raised far from their homelands so that the only bond they could have was with their master. And so that they're able to establish a deep sense of brotherhood with their fellow slaves. Obviously, they were taught the fundamentals, archery, swordsmanship, and horsemanship. And they were also taught with the Fursiya manuals, which were military handbooks that taught them battlefield tactics, chivalry, and discipline. They were slaves, but they were actually treated and paid pretty well like they were Greek gladiators. Over the centuries, they started gaining hella f***ing aura and political power. And by the mid-13th century, they literally seized the throne of Egypt after assassinating the last Ayyubid Sultan. And then they established the Mamluk Sultanate, which lasted nearly
300 years.
And you remember who else was waving their dick around at this time? Just a decade later, after seizing the throne in Egypt, the Mamluks met with
The Mongols.
As the Mongols swept the west, they met the Mamluks at Palestine in the Battle of Ain Jalut. And the Mamluks f***ing whooped their ass and handed the Mongols their first L. And that's what gave them global aura. I'm gonna list off a couple other things they did. They ruled Egypt and Syria and made Cairo the cultural and intellectual capital of the Islamic world. They crushed crusaders and destroyed the last of their strongholds in the Levant, and they turned their slave status into hereditary aristocracy. But they still would import new generations of soldiers from the outside, considering them pure Mamluks over their own sons. Eventually, the Mamluk Sultanate did end by the hands of the Ottoman Empire when they conquered Egypt, but the Ottomans still relied on them as local power brokers. And when Napoleon eventually fought their cavalry in the Battle of Pyramids in 1798, he was so impressed that he later recruited them. So what did we learn today? If you work hard enough, you might be able to overthrow your boss at work. Source.